What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about WandaVision episode 7. I feel like this episode was very similar to, I think, episode 4 or 5, where it gave us a lot of answers, but we still have just as many questions. So I'm going to break this video down into two parts, into what we know and what we don't know, based off everything we learned in this episode that confirmed things that we had assumed earlier in the season, as well as some speculation and stuff that I have and theories going forward with the remaining 2 episodes of WandaVision. So let's get right into it. So starting off with what we know, I'm kind of going chronologically throughout the episode. I've been having a chance to go back and rewatch each episode twice, so I can catch a lot more on the second rewatch. And I'm just going to go in chronological order from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode for what we know, and then start over again for what we don't know. So the first thing I listed on here, which was just kind of like a little low blow to myself, was that we know Darcy has a strong right hook, or left hook, whatever it was, but I totally discredited her in a previous episode. Monica and Jimmy ended up like beating the shit out of the guards, and Darcy's like, why didn't anybody tell me the plan? And I just thought it was funny because I don't know. I don't think I can see Darcy like holding her own. And I was like bagging on her, saying that I didn't think she would be able to hold her own when she clearly has. So I'll admit to me being wrong, but at least we know somehow she's taken some form of self-defense classes or whatever throughout the time that we haven't seen her in the MCU. But that was a very minor what we know. So. Moving down to number 2 is we confirmed that Hayward has plans with Vision. He wants to repurpose Vision, whether that be repurpose him with a completely separate AI, repurpose the vibranium that he is made from, somehow try to siphon the residual power of the Mind Stone, whatever the case may be. We now know that Hayward's ultimate plan was to somehow repurpose Vision for whatever plans he has. Moving down to number 3, I had that Monica had some military connections who highly respected her mother, Maria, and they offered their assistance with creating what I'm going to call the Hex Mobile, in order to try to get them in, or try to get Monica back into the Hex and not be physically or mentally altered through the transition. This was a bit of a letdown for me, because we still don't know who the brilliant scientist was, the astrophysicist that she was referring to in the earlier episodes. I know we all had theories that it could have been Reed Richards or somebody of the Fantastic Four, or even Eric Selvig, but they didn't even give a name drop. They just kind of showed up. They're like, yeah, here's your car, go. But I don't know, I feel like they should have taken the opportunity to name drop somebody who's a brilliant scientist or something, and then just a little Easter egg, sprinkle in the name, and then come back to it later. Moving down to number 4, I had, we know that, and this is partial speculation, but I had that Wanda is losing control of minor things. We saw the kids, they were playing video games, and then it would go from the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube to the Wii by the end of it, until the Uno cards. So I'm thinking there's minor things that she can't control, little fixtures around the house, and the wallpaper starting to go up and down and change, just minor things that are changing throughout her reality, because she expanded the Hex so far. It's really pushing the limits to her power, and she's not really able to have the Hex be this widely spread, along with maintaining the minute focus that it takes to control every little individual prop, I guess we can call it. So this begs the question, is this putting her under so much stress that she's going to be weakened by the end of the season and maybe not be able to like hold her own, especially now against Agnes or even against Monica. I guess we'll have to see and find out. Moving down to number 6. I'm not sure if this is probably also like another theory I have, but when Wanda was fighting Monica like in her front yard, like all the surrounding characters and all the surrounding like people in that area, they looked to me like they were frozen. It didn't look like they were just like spectators watching. It literally looked like they were frozen, kind of like the people from the last episode when Vision was so far out towards like Ellis Street or whatever. And this makes me feel like Wanda was focusing so much of her focus on the fight with Monica that she wasn't able to remember to have the surrounding people, like the mailman. There was a husband and wife with like a stroller. They just stayed there. So I feel like because all of her attention was focused on Monica, she wasn't able to continue the simulation and have them go on with their daily lives until the fight was over and Agnes interrupted. Then she was just like, oh, okay, yeah, everybody went back to normal. But even then, us seeing Agnes being able to go in there and interrupt that conversation just shows that she had some form of like sentient power that we eventually find out at the end of the episode. Agnes has been in control or somehow manipulating the scenes all along, which is exactly what I said last week when I was very suspicious of Agnes's behavior with her conversation with Vision. When Vision woke her up, I feel like she was already awake and she was just pretending to be stuck like everybody else, which leads forward into the last what we know for this week's episode is that Agnes was like the end tag said Agnes all along. She really has been pulling the strings. I was explaining it to my little brother. Agnes is kind of like the director of the series. I feel like there's certain things that Wanda has been in control of, but Agnes is kind of like the one who writes the script for everybody, and every character that lives in Westview is kind of like under her direction, which now that I think about it, it makes a lot more sense now from the scene of last week's episode where Herb knew everything that was going on. That was Agatha speaking to him through the headset, and I referred to that last week in my video. Think of it like a script, like the director is in his ear saying, oh, by the way, this is what's going to go on in the scene, get ready. I don't really know how else to explain it other than the fact that Agnes is the director, Wanda could be like the leading role, and she kind of like lets Wanda do her own thing, and then when the scene doesn't look like it wants to be, or doesn't look like the way she wants it to be, that's when she kind of goes in there and she changes it up. Like, we clearly saw that she's the reason why Quicksilver came in there. But that's everything I have for what we know. Moving down to what we do not know, and like I said, I'm going to go back into chronological order from the beginning of the episode. When Wanda was pouring herself that cereal, there was on the little milk carton, it said missing, and there was like, it looked like a little child, but it could have been like a grown adult. The picture was kind of blurry and not too clear to see who he was, but we don't know who this missing person is, and we don't know if this is the same missing person that Director Haywood was talking about. So I was thinking like, oh, if this is a missing child, maybe this could have been like the missing child of some like big name person within the MCU, and that's why they had Sora try to go in there and figure out what the hell's going on and where this kid's at. But we don't know who this person is yet, so maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. Moving down to number 2 for what we don't know. I said we don't know if Pietro was a one-off cameo. I'm beginning to feel like Evan Peters, Quicksilver, or whatever you want to call him, that gaslight scene that we had, or like the gaslight episode we had last week. I don't think Evan Peters is coming back for the remainder of the season or even the remainder of the MCU. I think it was literally just a one-off. Marvel Studios was like, hey, we're going to introduce a character that used to be in the Fox universe, same character for Quicksilver, and kind of throw us a loop and get us to all be overly excited for mutants, but turns out it ended up being nothing. So I think he's out of the show, but there's no confirmation. Moving down to number 3, we still do not know who Ralph is. Agnes made another reference to Ralph this episode, and we have yet to see him. And even though we went into the basement of her house and we found out that she's actually Agatha Harkness and she's a witch, she keeps referring to Ralph, doesn't say who he is. So, I still have a lot of theories that he is actually Mephisto, but we have no idea yet, and who knows if we actually ever will find out who Ralph is. Moving down to number 4 was that what happened to the twins, or where did the twins go? Obviously, in that final scene, Wanda goes into her house. Billy and Tommy aren't in there anymore, or at least they're nowhere to be found. She goes into the basement. They're still nowhere to be found, and there was no reference. Agnes didn't say what she did with them, or said that she had a bigger plan that had anything to do with them. So we have to find out next episode what happened to the kids. Are they hurt? Whatever. But I have a pretty decent theory I've been working on what might have happened to them. Moving down, this is also kind of like a smaller one. It just kind of bothered me. Why the hell was Darcy following traffic laws in the anomaly? Like, they're literally in a wide open ass field, and she's like, "Oh, it's a red light. Let me go ahead and stop her here." Like, I mean, does she have a bad driving record that she needs to maintain or something? I don't know. And then, lastly, was also in the final scene of the episode when they're in the basement. There was that book that was glowing. I wonder if this is the Darkhold, and if they're gonna reference the significance of this book. Is this one of the Forsaken books, kind of like in Doctor Strange, like in the library, one of the books that open up rituals to different dimensions, or use some kind of dark magic. I don't know. I feel like the camera was panned in on the book for so long that it's got to be something significant. But that's everything that we don't know and everything that we do know for this episode. I had 2 little comments I wanted to add because that was when I was watching it with my fiance. She was saying some funny things, so I wanted to give a shout out to her. When Wanda turns on the TV for the first time and there was a little pause before they actually showed what she was watching, she's like, "Oh yeah, she probably turned on the Avengers." So I thought that was funny that she just said that, because it would have been very fourth wall for her to watch a TV show of the events of Avengers or Avengers Age of Ultron, and I just thought that was pretty funny. And then she also stated that when Monica made it into the Hex, and you can see her vision, I'll call it Spectre vision for now. It looked very much like the Upside Down from Stranger Things, and I just thought that was pretty cool because it actually did look like that. You can tell her powers are somehow manifesting, and we don't know the full extent to that. So I guess we'll see how where to go with the rest of that. But on to my theory of the week, and just my biggest speculation for the season moving forward. I really think, I have two theories. I think Agnes is actually dead. That's my biggest theory. And I say that because when Billy was talking to her, he said, I like being around you because it's quiet. I don't hear all these voices in my head. Billy is telepathic, so him not being able to hear her, one, I think it's because she's dead, and this whole charade that she's doing with Wanda is to try to somehow bring her back, and she's stuck in a limbo or a purgatory mode or whatever. Or 2, she isn't actually dead. She's actually just using like her sorceress powers to block him out of her head, and her overall plan is to convince Wanda to have these kids and somehow try to sacrifice them. Oh shit, COVID season. Somehow sacrifice them, or like attempt to sacrifice, because I don't think they're going to sacrifice them. One, I think it's too dark for Marvel and Disney, and two, they already got Young Avengers coming in, so I don't think they're going to actually go through with the sacrifice, but it'll be like an attempt to sacrifice, and the purpose of that sacrifice is try to revive Ralph, who she keeps referring to as her husband, who's been dead or who we haven't even seen, or somehow like summon Mephisto. But yeah, that's how I think this is going down. I also think a part of the theory that I came up with, thanks to Natalie's help, is that Wanda might not actually be as strong as she says she is. She might be getting guided from Agatha, kind of in the sense like when, like the way she explained it is like when you're learning to hit a baseball, your parents come from behind you, they hold you, and then they swing for you. Maybe that's what Agatha did to Wanda to really like enhance her power. She might have like hit her with a shock of whatever magic, a little spell or some shit, and then it enhanced Wanda to be even stronger than she is, causing her to be able to maintain this hex and create all these reality warping situations. So that's everything I have for today. Overall, another great episode. I think the season has definitely flipped from where we first started off. I almost feel like I had nothing to say in the first 2 episodes, whereas like now I have to catch myself to stop talking. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this episode. What are any questions that you guys have? What are you most looking forward to? And yeah, let's just keep the conversation going. We got 2 more episodes, and then we'll take a break, and then we hop right into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we basically got Marvel content throughout the entire year. I'm so excited, and I'm so happy that they actually decided to do like a week-by-week release. It just makes it easier for me to enjoy every episode, take every episode that I watch, and then start to theory craft into the next episode. So there's just a much better linear progression of just my attitude towards the show, my hype for every new episode, and then obviously I get to put out new content for you guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys are fans of this nerd talk, I guess, go shout out to my boy Cam for All. He just started his channel. He was just on my last video, and we love talking back and forth with all of our Marvel theories. We can go on for hours, and if you guys like what I have to say here, he says very similar things on his channel, and we like to collaborate all the time, and we're open to collaborating with anybody who has any theories of their own. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it. Thank you.